Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Tech Support. In today's episode. Anyway, I pressed reset. Why you shouldn't use free trials in production. Is there a second grader I could speak to? A wholesome story about helping my family. System issues cause a single mother panic. I look deeper. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Anyway, I pressed reset. Found this sub yesterday, glad I can move away from the computer stupidities I keep reading and confess part of my days. The guy left, and anyway I don't care about what he would say, so. Lunchtime was at the refectory. That user came by and quietly told me computer froze like 5 times. I pressed reset every time, and now it doesn't boot. I know this guy does not like working too long, as many out there, so if he tells me at midday, then the machine was down since the early morning, or the yesterday evening. No ticket yet, and my lazy is down. I went by after 1:30 p.m. Sure enough, booting leads to a black screen, not even a BIOS. This machine was fairly recent, 2015. Brand new PCI/ISA backplane, great, a shiny parallel card, love it, 2 frontal USB ports, awesome, and even a motherboard with SATA support, incredible, with a platinum-plated SSD with its anti-vibration kit. What for our trusty Windows XP? Yes, we love dead technologies. No way to boot this thing back, so I took one spare motherboard and started to change it on site, because this darn thing was really difficult to take out. This is the king of MB with jumpers everywhere, and original ones were hot glued, highly maintainable. Nope, does not work. BSOD on startup, thanks XP for keep rebooting while BSOD, had to Google how to stop it. Asterisk user, so? Asterisk me, well, by resetting it looks like you finished the motherboard, and the hard drive too. Asterisk user, when this will be fixed? Because I'll need to tell it at the morning meeting. Asterisk me, I think tomorrow morning. I went to take the necessary tools to take off the PC and replace entirely with a spare, because that was the easiest way before fixing the old ones. I found the maintenance coordinator and told him about the press reset to kill thing. He was pretty fine about the troubleshoot. I put the PC on the workbench and transferred the cards into the new machine and restored a backup into the new disk. Looks fine, went back home. Tomorrow came. I had to take some pills, so I was stoned. I usually don't really care about what people's I don't like says, so it was even worse. I put the new machine and started plugging everything, all hail Profibus, 89D sub and many outdated things, when the guy went angry enough to yell at me. Asterisk user, hey, you told that was my fault because I reset multiple times, but I told you I reset only one time and your job is repairing, not blaming. Insert angry noises. A random guy which loves to blame everyone came to support his point. I was like, yeah, go for it, life's good anyway. For unknown reasons, and another guy went into corpse elimination. They quickly calmed down when I started explaining everything I knew. I'm a fun guy, I swear. Restored disk didn't work, so I took a look on the BSOD error and, for once, I found an answer. Wrong BIOS config for reading the disk. Had to change something I don't remember, so the old disk was fine. I claimed it as dead anyway, no one would care. It came back to life. Reconfigure the address of the parallel port to detect the dongle, yell on Windows, because old COM ports were hidden, so new config started at COM9 instead of COM2. Everything was working except the network, new MAC address. Because I was done with this, I directly asked to the high-level guy to make the emergency request for network declaration. I don't have access to that and this emergency request took 3 days and like 5 calls to get resolved. Finally everything went back on. Phew. Sorry about the terrible English, BTW. Why you shouldn't use free trials in production. It's been years since I last posted here. I guess we all end up coming back to IT, no matter how much we try to get away from it. Anyways, here's one from a few years back. It's a nice day in the office. We had recently been moved from in-house office space to WeWork and certainly appreciated the free coffee and the plentiful chairs. I was sipping my after-lunch coffee, half and half, when my IM pinged. Dollar Analyst, hey me, how's it going? You got a second? I have an issue with this link, it should be loading, but it's not working anymore. Me, yeah sure, let me take a look. So I click the link and it indeed doesn't work anymore. I thought, hey, someone probably messed up the permission system, let's check it out. So I load the admin interface to look at it. And it's not loading either. Huh. Ping. Packets, sent equals 4, received equals 4, lost equals 0, 0% loss. Okay, so the server isn't down. That's good. I decide to check if I can log into the DB engine, and it also works. Right, time to see if my boss knows what it might be. Me, hey boss, what's up? You know if we're having a general issue with the reporting tool? I can't access it. Well, he'll take at least 20 minutes to reply, so I can go get some more coffee. Ping. Boss, hey me, turns out my predecessor left out a trial version installed and never actually requested to buy the license. It just ran out the 180 days trial period and it'll take at least a week to get a license bought. I'm gonna go down to the floor and try to rescue the report files, wanna give it a try too? Me, can I get another coffee before getting on with it? Boss, sure, see you on the floor in 5. So after I got another coffee, I started to scour the server file system to find nothing. Not a trace of the 300 report files we had created since we started the tool migration 6 months ago. Perhaps more coffee wasn't good for the panic that's setting in now. Okay, just breathe and think about it. After some Googling, it turned out the report files aren't actual files in a folder, but are stored within a table on the DB engine. Thankfully, the table was still there and accessible to my account, so after a couple hours of going down the rabbit hole of how the tables were structured, a few queries, and a PowerShell script, and some iterations of trial and error, I managed to recover the entire folder structure with report files and have everything ready to import to the other DB engine where IT had just finished installing the reporting tool server. Which was also a trial license, but this time it was only until the order for the full license came through. At least nothing was lost. Except the permissions for each report and folder, which did take us the better part of the following day to recreate. But I didn't have to let my coffee grow cold, so that was a win, I suppose. Is there a second grader I could speak to? Obligatory first post on mobile, etc. Technically, I'm not tech support, but operate the print room in a modest company, with some design/layout/creative work on occasion. Nevertheless, I think this story belongs here, at least in spirit. I currently have one project that is next year's calendar for a client, new photos, updated sponsor ads, and of course the actual calendar itself. Thank you InDesign plugin. One of the new logos is a bit difficult. The client sent a PDF. A mid-low resolution scan of a business card. Slightly crooked on an A4 page, similar to US letter, just longer and not as wide. Make what jokes you will about that, and entirely unsuited for this use. So I email the sponsor directly to ask if they have an actually usable version of the logo, rather than a scanned business card. I receive a new file shortly, a new PDF, of the same card, only this time it's crooked and upside down. So I reply again, emphasizing that I need the logo as a proper image. A scan of the business card is useless to me. I get a new response, a scan of the same card, slightly straighter, but still upside down. It was at that point I conceded defeat and just used the first crappy version. 'Cause I know my boss would have been strongly disapproving, while laughing her butt off, if I actually asked the sponsor in question if they had a second grader there I could speak to. If there's any update to the whole mess, I'll probably post an update. A wholesome story about helping my family. This is still pretty fresh in my mind. This is how I learned that the best thing to know is how to ask the right questions. It's officially been 1 full week since my brother died. Massive heart attack, I felt his pulse disappear. He was an avid photographer, known around our entire county, and a truly intelligent person. He was my family's tech guy, a role that now falls to me. This is where I come in. Because he was such an avid photographer, my parents wanted access to his computers to try and pull some of the many thousands of pictures he's taken. But he didn't keep any of his passwords or hints in his safe. They asked me if I could try to get in, to avoid having to pull the drives and potentially lose something. I went to work trying to find some way of breaking in and removing those passwords. Eventually I found a way, which I will not be detailing here. All I will say is I managed to change some file names and got a method of changing the passwords of all accounts on the computer, as well as his laptop. My parents nearly fell apart when I told them I'd managed to get in without disrupting any data whatsoever. This entire ordeal has firmly planted a desire to engage in a profession within the IT field. I know from reading the stories here it won't all be sunshine and daisies, but if I can ever help another family like I was able to help mine, I want to try. I apologize if this is poorly written or maybe doesn't fit here, but I needed to tell it, to remind people, jobs in IT may be hell, but maybe the person on the other end of your line is going through the worst pain imaginable, losing a child that had so much promise. He would have been 29 next March. He was on track to be in the US State Department. He's made friends around the world and deserved a much longer life. Goodbye TFTS and goodbye, brother. System issues cause a single mother panic. I look deeper. Hey all. You all seem to like my previous posts, so here's hopefully another heart warmer for all my techies. So for some context, I work in a broadband/TV/phone company in the technical department, but I can also help on the billing side too to an extent. A lady called in and immediately she didn't seem okay. She said we'd taken over £100 from her bank after she cancelled one of her services with her, and that she was a single mother and no one had informed her we'd be taking that payment. Without that money she wouldn't be able to pay her bills, feed her kids, or buy petrol for her car. At first glance the account seemed to be right. She'd only had broadband for a few months with us, so of course there would be a fee. But she insisted she'd been with us longer, and she was right. I found emails about her service that the account didn't say she had, that she wouldn't have gotten if she didn't have it. She shouldn't have had any cancellation fees, as there was even an email saying she was no longer in contract. It was a big system error that had caused it, and within my scope of digging up information. I told her while I could make no promises at this time, I was going to escalate it to my manager, and we were going to see if there was anything we could do. She was understandably worried, but I promised her I would call her back. Armed with all the details, I sent it all to my manager. Within an hour we had a response from the higher-ups. Give her money back. Also knowing she didn't have much money in the account, and it could take a few days, my manager and I agreed we should give her a voucher for a supermarket so she could feed her kids and use the money she did have for emergencies until the money came in, which could be sent immediately. I called her up and told her what we were going to do, and the poor woman was nearly in tears. She thanked me, but I thanked her for calling us and giving me all the information I needed to help her, and that she'd done the right thing to chase this. Considering I had a very difficult call afterwards with another customer where I was sworn at and called a waste of space, I'm at least glad I managed to help her today.